my mirror group claim. Alright. Paragraph 191. I fully accept and agree with the fact that journalists and the media are on the public square, and as much as if you are in a position of responsibility and or are funded by the taxpayer, the media should have the power to be able to investigate anyone, anytime, for pretty much anything. The problem is that over the last 15 to 20 years, there are now incredible powerful media companies who masquerade as journalists. Wow, this is the very powerful here. Okay, there are now incredible powerful media companies who masquerade as journalists and who have quite literally hijacked journalistic privileges that their own personal gain and agenda. Okay, hijack journalistic privileges for their own personal gain and agenda. It's an unbelievable dangerous place. I believe it doesn't matter whether you are a public figure at this point. Whoever you are, if you are of interest to the press at that time, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're in private or if you're public, you are a target. You become a victim of their system. They claim to hold public figure to account, but refuse to hold themselves accountable. There's that IPSO thing here. All right, they quickly buffer themselves to be the safeguard of journalistic. Meanwhile, it's just the same thing to turn a blind eye. My goodness, if they are supposed policing society, who on earth is policing them? Whenever the government is scared of alienating them because of position is power, it is incredibly worrying for the entire UK. There he is. He's speaking on behalf of the people. Okay, it doesn't matter who you are. These people, if they interest in you, they want free will to run rampage anything they want about you. So this is the thing the UK needs to understand. And then the US need to make sure they don't bring this BS over here. Okay, 192. In my view, in order to save journalism as a profession, journalists need to expose those people in media that have stolen or hijacked the privileges and powers of the press and have used illegal or unlawful means for their own gain and agendas. This is why that Brian Capecourt article I wanted to read, because he wanted to know what's going on with IPSO regarding that was it Jeremy Clarkson thing. They were supposed to do something about it. My feeling is that they're waiting for this lawsuit to finish to see which way they could go. They need to remove whoever is behind. Okay, the idea of IPSO is good, but the people's running it need to be out of there. Alright, they need to be out of there and be held accountable for their position that they are in. Okay, in the same vein, I am bringing this claim not because I hate the tabloid press or even necessarily a section of it, but in order to properly hold the people who have hijacked those privileges which come with being a member of the press to account for their action. Yeah, he's saying, look, I'm bringing this because these people are doing this unlawfully, and then is like water down. Okay, water down journalism. So they need to be held accountable. If they know there's consequences for their action, they will not do it. And this is why I respect Omid very highly, because at that time when none of this were coming out, those royal rats was running rampant. And they were making money left and right, but he didn't take the bait. He didn't do it. Okay? And that's why they hate him for it. 193. This has become a huge problem of which I have a unique perspective and experience, perhaps, having had a front row seat to it, because they have showed no willingness to change. I feel that I need to make sure that this unlawful behavior is exposed, because obviously I don't want anybody else going through the same thing that I have been going through on a personal level. This is the thing where his father's telling him, just because I went through it, therefore you must go through it.
And it all comes back to the same people, the same business model, the same industry. Because my father used to say to me when I was younger, he used to say to both William and I, well, it was like that for me, so it's going to be like that for you.
Because they have showed no willingness to change, I feel that I need to make sure that this unlawful behavior is exposed.
Just because you suffered that doesn't mean that your kids have to suffer.
Because obviously I don't want anybody else going through the same thing that I have been going through on a personal level.
In fact, quite the opposite. If you suffered, do everything you can to make sure that whatever negative experiences that you had, that you can make it right for your kids.
Harry knows the pain of it. Okay, the feeling of not being relaxed all the time. So he doesn't want people to go through the same thing. And this is why he's bringing. And then you have all people who's coming out that Harry should not be doing that. He's like messing up the court system, using it for his gain. I mean, the court system is there for anybody.
I actually think this is a car crash for British justice, for the British justice system. Because this is actually quite laughable what is happening here if it wasn't so serious. The Prince Harry, in my opinion, is damaging the institution that is the British legal system. Because he's using it and abusing it. And you are completely right when you were talking about the influence of lawyers keeping this alive, because they have made millions. They have made millions.
Just because you suffered, that doesn't mean that your kids have to suffer.
They have made millions.
In fact, quite the opposite. If you suffered, do everything you can to make sure that whatever negative experiences that you had, that you can make it right for your kids.
I actually think this is a car crash for British justice. I actually think this is a car crash for British justice, for the British justice system, because this is actually quite laughable what is happening here if it wasn't so serious. The Prince Harry, in my opinion, is damaging the institution that is the British legal system. The Prince Harry, in my opinion, is damaging the institution that is the British legal system. The Prince Harry, in my opinion, is damaging the institution that is the British legal system. Because he's using it and abusing it. And you are completely right when you were talking about the influence of lawyers keeping this alive, because they have made millions. I actually think this is a car crash for British justice.
If you have a claim and you could prove it, you could bring anything up. But these people, they're undermining Harry. And I agree with Harry here. Okay, but also on a national level, as at the moment, our country is judged globally. That's the key part. I've heard this before. Our country is judged globally by the state of our press and our government. He's 1000% right. He is right on this. Both of which I believe are at rock bottom. Democracy fails when your press fails to scrutinize and hold the government accountable, and instead choose to get into bed with them so they can ensure the status quo. I may not have a role within the institution, but as a member of the British royal family and as a soldier upholding important values, I feel there's a responsibility to expose this criminal activity in the name of public interest. He is right. He is right. This is of public interest. Even when Meghan's lawsuit was going on, and I'm like, if Meghan lose that case, people in the UK is gonna be in big trouble. That will give them the license to do whatever they want with your information. And there's Harry's doing the same thing. It's of great public interest. It is for the rest of the people. All right, the country and the British public deserve to know the depth of what was actually happening then, and indeed now we will be better off for it. That is true.